The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, July 23, 2023. In recent days, there has been an increase in artillery fire along the northern front line in Luhansk and Kharkiv oblasts. This escalation has likely been accompanied by a rise in Russian small unit assaults, although the exact situation remains unclear due to Russian disinformation campaigns. Russia has probably achieved only minor territorial gains so far. However, this renewed northern offensive highlights the importance the Kremlin places on this region, even as it faces mounting pressure in the southern Zaporizhia sector. Russia's Western Military District forces are likely attempting to advance back to the Oskil River to establish a buffer zone around Luhansk Oblast. Russia almost certainly views control of Luhansk as one of its core objectives in the war. The Air Force Command of Ukraine Armed Forces update. Last night, Russia launched another missile attack on Odesa. In total, Russia fired 19 missiles of varying types, 5 Onyx air-launched cruise missiles from Bastion Coastal Defense Systems, Crimea, 3 Kh-22 air-launched cruise missiles from Tu-22MZ bombers, Black Sea area, 4 Caliber Sea-launched cruise missiles likely from a submarine, Black Sea area, 5 Iskander-K land-based cruise missiles, Crimea, 2 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, Crimea. Through the combat efforts of Ukraine's Air Force, 9 air targets were destroyed, 4 Caliber Sea-launched cruise missiles, 5 Iskander-K land-based cruise missiles. Over the past days, Ukraine's aircraft have conducted over 15 airstrikes against Russian occupying forces equipment, personnel, and concentrations. The Institute for the Study of War, Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko in St. Petersburg, Russia, on July 23. During the meeting, Putin made several symbolic gestures that suggest he is concerned about threats posed by Yevgeny Prigozhin and the Wagner Group. Prigozhin is a Russian oligarch who controls the Wagner Group, a private military company. He and his forces have at times competed for power and influence within Putin's inner circle. Putin took Lukashenko to visit Kronstadt, an island fortress where Russian soldiers unsuccessfully rebelled against the Bolsheviks in 1921. By touring Kronstadt with Putin critics Alexander Beglov and Ksenia Shoigu, Putin likely aimed to signal his supremacy over Prigozhin's faction. The publicized meeting in the historic site of a failed rebellion sent a message that Putin has defeated Prigozhin's attempted armed rebellion. Putin also made a point of photographing himself with Russian citizens and children, seeking to boost his popularity. These symbolic displays indicate Putin feels threatened by the Prigozhin-aligned factions and concerned about maintaining public support. This perceived vulnerability surrounding his control over power players and popularity could have significant implications for the future stability of Putin's regime. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko told Russian President Vladimir Putin that the Wagner Group, private military forces, will remain stationed in central Belarus. This likely signals to Putin that the Wagner Group still poses a potential threat to him, and that Lukashenko maintains influence over their forces. Putin and Lukashenko made public accusations about Western biological and nuclear programs, amplifying Russian propaganda narratives. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated in a CNN interview that Ukrainian forces have retaken around 50% of territory captured by Russia since February 2022. Ukrainian forces continued counter-offensive operations across 3 sectors of the front line on July 23 as part of an ongoing campaign to retake territory. Overnight on July 22, Russian forces carried out missile strikes on port infrastructure and civilian areas in central Odesa. The strikes caused severe damage across the city. Igor Girkin, a former Russian officer and prominent nationalist, was arrested recently under unclear circumstances. Girkin has been highly critical of the Kremlin's war efforts. Following his arrest, members of the Angry Patriots pro-war group intensified their campaign to portray Girkin as an opposition figure. The Angry Patriots are an ultranationalist movement supportive of Russia's invasion. Girkin's arrest may indicate the Kremlin is attempting to censor prominent ultranationalist voices that have consistently criticized Kremlin leadership. This could create tensions between the Kremlin and segments of the pro-war movement. Vladimir Ivanov, head of one of the largest suppliers of surveillance systems to Russian security services, died under mysterious circumstances on July 22. Ivanov's company has been crucial for equipping Russian intelligence agencies. Along the strategically important Svatove-Kreminna line in eastern Ukraine, Russian forces captured the villages of Dovenk and Dolina, according to Russian military bloggers. In the same area, Ukrainian forces took control of the villages of Mazanivka and Dubrova, their first gains in weeks along this contested front line. Fighting also continues around the key city of Bakhmut in eastern Donetsk. Ukrainian forces regained territory near the Mayorsk settlement, pushing Russian troops back. Ukrainian forces made advances northwest of Huliaipol and secured territory along the Inhulets River in the Dnipropetrovsk-Kherson border area. This area is key for Russia's ground line of communication to Kherson. The Russian Ministry of Defense is recruiting prisoners to fight in Ukraine, offering pardons and financial compensation. It remains unclear if this is substantially addressing their manpower shortage. Russian occupation authorities are bringing citizens from eastern Russia and Syria to occupied areas like Mariupol, Kherson, and Melitopol. The goal appears to be to alter the demographics in occupied territories by settling pro-Russian populations. The Ukrainian gains near Huliaipol indicate they are making slow progress cutting off Russian ground routes in the southern counteroffensive. But stiffer resistance may lie ahead as they push closer to Kherson city.